and welcome to Critical Tumble, where a bunch of longtime friends and internet nerds transcend geography through the power of Discord to play Dungeons & Dragons, and critically fumble a lot. Previously, the gang got kind of emergency evac'd to Belarys by grace of godly gifts and, knowing one teleportation circle glyph set. One. Somebody's going to have to learn some more of those. Because there are other teleportation circles in the world. Remi, I'm sure, does know this. And now she's going to have to find them all. Or at least the useful ones, because I'm sure there are some she probably doesn't want to be popping into at random. Potentially. I mean, Hazel might want to know all of them if she had it, but she doesn't, so that's great!
Like Hazel.
Hazel wants to learn the things. She wants to go everywhere and then bring all the good stuff back home to Hearthhome. It's part of her whole deal. Anyway, so yeah, they hit Belarys. They got a room at the Bravo's Boast, and they discovered that there's a bit of an issue in that the blue dragon that lives in the cliffs between Equitas and Baronsvere has decided to close borders in a very significant way, as in any attempts at resupply and reinforcements for the mercenary companies that are currently helping support Goldendale while King Dragon Asshat III's armies are marching across the place. They're going to have problems if this continues, and so while this bunch kind of futzed their way through the traditional, we are going to Sweetwater and Sisters, we are going to we're going to see what has been done now, and what has been done now involved the fluffy glitter spiders and giant mechanical wasps and probably an arrest and all sorts of other chaos. Alice was talking to Hjal Fortinbras, and her meeting did get summarily interrupted by the glitter spiders. But she did come back saying he wants us to sort this out. Our down payment is the permanent Steelwind Strike tattoo for Proseth. Then they were heading to Crestwind's Bakery to have dinner with Remi's parents. So on the walk there, you had Alice going, "It occurs to me before we get too far into that end of the city, we should probably talk to the people at Arcane Inc. Because if we're if we can get a price sheet and because this stuff takes time, process is going to be an event. Given I saw where that was like arms, shoulders, back kind of thing, and it takes longer on scales anyway. And if more than just him want to get anything done, we might want to let them know that they might have a whole day of us. You know, it's polite to say, can
make an appointment.
Yeah,
exactly.
well, but it's to be fair, given us and how many of us are probably going to want things, it's less appointments and more or less booking the shop for the day. And depending on, hopefully in the next day or two, but depending, while each individual of us is doing the thing, we can have that thing that we've all been probably kind of wanting, day to ourselves, or depending on whether Ree fancies a day date wandering around the market, us day. She's nodding. She's nodding. It's fine. And also, I know from Hazel, and she wouldn't have necessarily thought of this given the nonsense that's been going on lately. But as we might be aware, Oralness is coming in a couple of weeks, guys.
Yeah. Huh.
It's our equivalent for Brian. It's our equivalent of Christmas. He would have. It's celebrated in the barracks, so he's got the impression this is a holiday. A winter god well, goddess is involved, but mostly it's food, presents, evergreens, that kind of thing. So people are probably gonna want to gift shop.
Yeah.
And doing it in a group is entertaining, but
awkward.
entertaining but inconvenient.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah, that describes the act
defeats
and
the
generally
purpose.
us. Or at least
Excuse
me.
me, I'm plenty convenient, thank you very fucking much. If I wasn't, you wouldn't have picked me up off the sand. Just saying. By the time the laughter from that has died down a bit, you are in the vicinity of Arcane Inc. There is a sign in the window that basically goes, we are currently unable to provide the following tattoos. Glyph of water breathing, glyph of elemental bane, glyph of electricity resistance.
Crap.
That would have been useful.
Not surprised, but yes.
Oh well.
Yeah, and Alice A just sort of walks in. Inside for, predominantly Barnabas, because he's heard of the place, but he hasn't really had the time to go in. At the desk is a older elven woman, which means she's she's probably a couple of hundred, in which case, making notes in a fairly large book and sitting on the desk, apparently doing inventory in a more him-sized book, is a sprite. Just flip and looks up and eyes you all, then looks over at Darvin and leans towards the back door and goes, "Hey, Galfred!" And out peeks a white-skinned tiefling. He's dyed his hair a sort of a streaks of red and orange, and he's wearing a fair bit of jewelry on his horns, and you can see up his neck a bit the start of some, what Darvin in particular knows is very all-encompassing tattoos, and going, "Oh, hello. Wasn't expecting you back for a while. Just in the middle of something." And the elven woman looks up and goes, "You look purposeful, all of you."
I'll step to the side and making sure not to be in Froseth's way. I actually, for once, don't need anything, so I'm sort of just stepping to the back of the group and.
Well, Alice A goes, as you probably noticed, some of us are new to this particular shop, so if you could provide us with and we noticed the sign, but if you could provide us with a list of what you are able to do. I've got some bits and pieces that'll probably help pay for them, but we've been tasked with taking care of the business. That's why all of that is out of stock. And so we're probably going to monopolize some time. Is there a good day for that? And he looks over and goes, "Well, with the lack of stocks in those particular glyphs, we can do tomorrow, if that's all right. I take it there's at least one big job involved." Apparently everybody's looking at Frozen
Yeah,
now.
just looking over at Froseth. You might recall the and I've just blanked out of character. Blanked on the Steel Wind Strike. Thank you. The temporary Steel Wind Strike that was done. Yep. I hit it. Realized. Well, we've come to have that permanently done, or well, Froseth has come to have that permanently done, rather.
And the sprite sitting there is just going, looks over at Froseth and goes, "Did you trade your voice for something at any point? Or
No.
are you just letting them speak for you because?"
He likes to
He
talk.
can-
Why not let him?
He's so magnanimous.
Yeah, the sprite only avoids hitting the floor from falling off the desk laughing because wings.
Yeah. Anyway,
Welcome to the Cupcake Coterie being the Cupcake Coterie.
The sprite is still midair laughing, and the elven woman is just. So you did decide to properly keep that name then. All right. That's good to know that the bards aren't going to get confused later on. But I also imagine that given the price on a permanent steel wind strike tattoo, that there's more to this than. And Alice's like, will you give them the bit of paper, guys? Because if we get it from the governor, it's a priority.
Who had that paper?
You did. Alice
Oh,
gave
I
it to you.
Right. Sorry.
Yeah, you go first with going, who
Yeah.
has the paper? Dude, I gave it to you.
It's been a couple weeks for me. So,
It's fine. I'm mostly teasing.
so yeah, I'll hand over the
Well,
paper.
it's a good thing we can clear the decks for tomorrow then. And I take it the rest of you will be wanting some time to think about the kinds of things you're going to be wanting.
Yes, please.
And it hands out some bits of parchment that give, it's basically what I've listed on the Arcane Ink PDF. So there's the little parchment booklets really. So here you are.
I'm okay. I'm more than happy with the one that I have.
Glad the sprite is looking at the various bits that are spread up your neck and going, "Hey, Galfred, somebody's been inking your boy."
Oh,
Back out again and going,
And I've fallen over.
someone, but it's not. Even if I was the jealous type, which no, getting narky over gods inking somebody is not done, so you can get stuffed. Leans back in.
figuring Guilford would know that. That's why I was sort of like.
Leans back out to. It's a shame though. I'm gonna have to find some other excuse to get my hands on you.
I mean, you don't need an excuse. You just need an opportunity.
That's true. So
I just
I'm-
slumped on a wall, giggling like an idiot.
yeah, I just kind of picked Hazel a little bit up. So it's now that we have been your comedy review, we'll leave you to the rest of your evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Does it?
Thank you.
Sketches
you.
a deep bow and skedaddles.
Come on, Hazel.
I will allow myself to get hauled away, still giggling like a doofus.
She looks up at Barnabas and goes, "Yeah, I know, but at least we're funny."
Yeah, fair enough.
It's okay. You don't. You can unbend a little. It's fine. You can make fun of them if you want to. I do all the time.
I'm just still settling in before I start cracking wise on people.
How long did it take me? Like
5
a
minutes.
day? Well, no, a day because I was being tipsy pixie staff at first.
True. Good point. Yes. But yeah, and even but even then, yeah, still. I mean, to be fair, we also earned it a lot. Well, I did.
Kind of. To be fair, it was more. You got one of you got me kind of angry in the first 5 minutes. He's not with us anymore. He's currently following a psychopomp around.
Oh yeah.
Barnabas is an intelligent man. He knows that Psychopomp is guide of souls from one plane to another.
Absolutely, but it's a case of why is he? Don't want to know. Don't want to know. Don't want
Long
to
story.
know.
Don't worry about it.
Alice, who does not leave stories untold, is just going. She was his cousin. She basically gave up her mortality to try to find him when he went extensively missing, and she just wanted to make sure he was okay, and he wasn't coping very well with now and here
And us.
mostly now and here, but us too.
True.
And so he decided that instead he was going to walk between because it was a little easier to cope with. He might come back. We don't know.
Gotcha.
Okay, it was a little bit of a whinge. A little bit. Occasionally a fun little group, brother.
God,
He was Mr. I have 2 words for you, Mr. Dragon Eldritch Blast.
Yes.
He was also Sandpiper Man.
Yes, an elf on a shelf once. Ugh. God, that was stupid.
Yeah, didn't he get thrown out for that?
Yeah, that's why I remember it.
At this point, you're heading into more the shops area and heading towards Crestwind's Bakery.
The closer we get, I'm like,
They have, according to the smell as you approach, they did manage to actually get hold of Goose. Because that is what they cook when Remi comes to visit, because it is not often enough. And given the numbers that Remi has quoted, they've probably got more than one.
I just knew that it was going to smell amazing as we approached, so I was just...
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
I will meet you at the bakery because I need to swing back to the inn and change. Mother wouldn't be happy if I came to the dinner table in armor.
You do wear clothes under that, and we have bags of holding.
Yeah.
Fair enough. That works too.
We can just sort of dodge into an alley, and I can help you undo buckles and shit.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Who knows? Maybe one day you'll find magical means of like sticking that to you or something. Ask Zuriel about it sometime. I don't know.
Don't ask Calatiel. I worry. Although I think
Sorry, I didn't hear the first bit.
Oh, I was suggesting not asking Calatiel only because I'm just worried. I'm just reminded.
No, not Calatiel, Zuriel.
Oh, okay.
The dad?
Oh, brain fart.
Yeah. Darvin, your memory.
That was an out of character brain fart.
But I'm
okay.
In this case, I'm still holding you to it because
Fair
it
enough.
is something Darvin would do.
Fair enough.
Furseth would not forget the paper that he had. Darvin would have a weird cross blip with the number of names that he's gone through. He's still getting used to the number of names he needs to keep track of as a storyteller. So yeah, they duck into someplace out of the way, get Remi out of her armor. Alice kind of looks at the. She's prestidigitated the blood out of her clothes, but kind of looks at the rip in her sleeve and just goes, "Maybe they won't notice. I don't care."
Okay.
It's fine. It's fine. If they notice, I'll think of something.
Sure, they'll have plenty of other things to talk about.
It's your mother. I've met her like once, and she notices everything.
Mothers tend to do that.
Yes, they do.
I'll take your word for it.
My mother would seem to know everything as well.
It looks over at Hazel, and of course, this one has like Wizard and Sneaky Queen as mothers. So, yeah.
If we were continuing on the way, could I take the time to briefly just sort of put a finger on Alice's shoulder and cast mending on the outfit.
You can, and you just get with that.
Beat me to it.
Just let her.
Well, I mean, it's not exactly something you can necessarily stop if you don't know that it's coming, but it's just kind of, she stops, looks at Hazel. Her sleeve is now mended, but she's looking at Hazel with, like, combination barbarian rage and celestial crack of doom. Ask
Stepping back.
first, please.
Understood.
And noogie, and it does hurt. Not much, but a little bit.
Like,
Just
You do not cast on me without permission, unless I'm like unconscious and it's healing.
just walks up behind Hazel,
That is
pat on the shoulder.
That is
That's why I asked.
No means no. Consent is everything.
Not wrong.
just going to quietly nod in acknowledgement and agreement.
Then Alice kind of has a focus so that the manifested snowflake halo thing dissipates. Fuck, that's gonna get annoying. Why? No, I don't even want to. But armor divested, clothes mended, and rage vented without actually hurting anybody, as I did roll a self-control check, and that was a 19. So you came off lucky with the noogies. You were going to get pinned to a wall otherwise. Onwards to Crestwind's little bakery. Fitting all of you into the main room is possible, but given Barnabas, it's also going to be ducking slightly. And what you get is a older woman, slightly portly. Both Corey and Amel are much taller than Remi, like 5-6 inches taller than Remi on average. And at first there is Amel heads for Remi with world's most awkward hug. Corey, however, heads straight for Alice. And hello, darling.
Hi.
Swap places, kind of, and Amel just kind of does the, one hand on one arm and just half hand hugging, kind of pats the shoulders, but doesn't want to get awkward about it. Whereas Corey just sort of glomps onto Remi. I don't think Remi actually knows this because she hasn't tended to take the significant others home, but it would appear that they have just basically immediately assimilated Alice in as in-law. Alice is looking a little bit bewildered by this whole turn of events. And this is move next to Barnabas, and Corey offers a hand.
Barnabas shakes it.
Corey Crestwind, it's wonderful to finally meet you. I've heard so much.
I'm glad. My name's Barnabas Stumplevink. It's a pleasure to meet you as well.
I'd heard the Barnabas, the Stumplefink not so much. I suppose
I don't really.
I suppose ink is at a bit of a premium. Our Remi does write to SCC, and that's how we hear.
Oh, nice. Well, I generally don't mention the last name much. It's some people can be a little uncouth about it, and it gets wearying.
I think it's darling.
He's so adorable.
And then goes and offers hugs and handshakes to, hugs to people who are happy with them, handshakes for those who aren't so much. And Amel also goes down the line, just shakes. For him, it's entirely handshakes. Just and introducing himself to Barnabas. Amel Crestwind theoretically own this establishment. What do you mean theoretically? You own it too, dear. It comes from your family. You own it. I own you. So theoretically, fair enough.
Oh my god.
Ah,
Welcome to Remi's family, ladies and gentlemen. Right, we're definitely going to have to repair this to the roof. Barnabas, you're going to have to be careful. Our stairs are a little bit narrow. And
I'm definitely used to watching where I step. It's quite all right. Thank you for the heads up, though.
and Puffy's upstairs, just as a warning.
Clarity has been looking around while all of the introductions were going. She's sort of looking for the dog.
Flitty has poked head out of Flitty bag, and it's just, it's the Cookie Palace. And Corey just reaches, gives the scritch. Yes, dear, but actual food first, and then we can fill you with cookies to your heart's content. You see Fairy Dragon do the hazel grin.
Oh god, that's nightmarish.
I'm like, wait, she. Okay.
I understand a little bit more than I speak, and besides, cookie is more or less universal. It's not so much actually understanding the words as the intent.
Fair enough. That was awesome.
Context is all. And thumbs up the stairs. Yeah, Barnabas is basically gonna have to turn sideways because this is narrow-ass door, and while Froseth is a lean sort of dragonborn, Barnabas is beefcake.
In every sense of the word. Well, maybe not every sense.
I was about to say phrasing.
Oh, he's a big old muffin. He is. So yeah, it's just sort of turning sideways and clump, clump, clump. And yeah, they've set up a sort of dinner patio thing on the roof, and yeah, you do have Puffy, who immediately upon seeing Remi, Puffy for Barnabas's sake is a very elderly Pomeranian, very very tiny ball of floof, which stampedes across the space until glump, 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 glump into an exhausted heap at Remi's feet. Poof.
Hello, Puffy.
No.
Oh,
It just lies on Remi's foot, just a little tail. Butterscotch pokes out of Ava's back like, oh, it's the moving one, kind of.
Do you think it's okay if I put butterscotch near Puffy? Puffy?
Well, we've never had one of them, but I don't think. Well, Butterscotch can't do Puffy any harm, and unless he overexcites Puffy. Puffy is getting on a bit in years, and if he starts getting a little overexcitable, we might ask you to pick him back up. But he's just going to squirm in your bag otherwise.
Alright. You behave, alright?
You just get the eyes of "I always behave." And yeah, this is close up to Puffy, gives a little nudge. Puffy, a little elderly. Yep. And Butterscotch actually looks a little bit like, why can't I do that?
Okay.
And does the sort of play stance. Puffy is just like, what the fuck are you doing? And having had requisite scritches and pets from Remi and a suitable lie down, gets up and eyes Butterscotch a little bit and sort of waddles over in Clarity's general direction.
I reach out with my hand and just let him sniff and And
That sort of toodles up to your shins and headbutt. Bunk.
pet, 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 pet. Squish, 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 squish.
And Butterscotch is hopping around you guys in circles, going, "Why am I not getting attention? Why am I not getting attention? Why am I not getting attention?"
I'm petting Butterscotch.
Just reach down and give Butterscotch scritches.
Happy dog. Right, yes, I think we should let Puffy and Butterscotch get properly acquainted while we feed you all and ask how things have been. You all look a little bruised. Because you didn't finish the healing jobs, guys. Most of you.
Just another day of adventure.
Another day of adventure that gave us absolutely no warning that you were heading in this general direction. And given that we've been hearing some things about the travel lines being closed, and Alice, what is that on your hand? Or almost came early from my celestial dad. I'm not entirely sure I want to know. But how did you get here?
Magic.
I'm just going to
Remi?
gesture to Remi.
Remi Crestwind. Well, that is a very basic answer. It is one that could apply to so many different things.
I recently learned how to teleport.
Mel is just going in. Corey, it's not necessarily dangerous. Yes, it is. If you don't know where you're going, you can get a significant amount of psychic backlash. I have been doing some reading, you know.
I knew where I was going, Mom.
Obviously, you did this time because you were here. I'm just saying that it's also not, generally speaking, something in the Tritherian is with me now power set.
Well, I'm not like other paladins of Tritherian.
I mean, it's true.
Once in Darwin's life, he's keeping his mouth shut.
Which point Alice is like, okay, look, you know how you guys are basically treating me like part of the family because I am very much attached to your daughter? What do you think my celestial dad's doing? Hey, you're the one who, if I've been told this correctly, used. Well, Tritherian is with me now, so you have a lot less to worry about as a way to shut this down. What do you think
Yeah.
they're going to do with that plus right hand of Palor?
That is very true.
The Sitpro would absolutely stock still, clearly processing this, and Mel is the first one to speak up. It just sort of goes, "I do like this one, Corey. She does know when not to take it from you, and she stands up for our daughter rather admirably." Well, yes, but I suppose it's going to be dangerous no matter what you do, and I suppose it's just as well that you have ways of getting out if you need to. Still, just be careful and make sure you know exactly where you're going when you do these things.
I am.
Look, I'm your mother. I love you. I do not want you to get hurt.
I know.
And you do not always exercise all due caution, Remi. Don't make me start breaking out the stories. Because I'll do it.
At which point, the look on Darwin's face is suddenly this is relevant to my interests.
Yeah, I was like, oh, do tell more.
Remi shoots a look to Darwin.
Deliberately not looking. I'm looking straight at parents. I can feel the burning from here.
And it's just kind of I have a feeling, Remi, we might not have much choice. The A couple of your friends seem to be rather interested in what you got up to growing up.
Remi, of course, if you sincerely do mind, it's okay. I'm just curious because I care. You're important to me. That's all.
I know, Darvin. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
Tell you what, you have a choice. One story each from Amel and myself, at our discretion, or I show you the sketch we had done of the family when Remy was small.
Oh.
Choose.
Yeah, it was a good sketch.
I'm all for the stories.
Up to you.
Okay.
Whichever you're most comfortable with.
Oh, I'm assuming that was to Remi.
Remy shrugs a bit. I guess you can do a bit of both if it's with discretion.
They are a family, really. So we'll start with the sketch and let things calm down a little bit, and goes downstairs, comes up with a framed it's in color, probably pencils, but under glass, so it's been fairly well protected, of a fair bit younger Emil and Corey, and Remy, age about 5. And she's made of scuffy. She's got skinned knees and wearing trousers with one of the knees entirely out, showing the scrapes underneath. Hair in pigtails that were probably tied fairly neatly that morning, but are now kind of disheveled and have like bits of what's probably hay and whatnot stuck in them, and it's just lopsided, it's scruffy, and I just got out of an adventure kind of.
Typical kid stuff.
Alice, I so want a copy of this before pressing it on.
It is adorable.
You were so tiny.
Both Alice and Darvin are just.
Because what I was about, I am not going to say what I was about to say after that.
Remy looks at Darvin again.
Well, look, what I was going to say was not supposed to follow that, but what I was going to say was something along the lines of, well, you
I
haven't
know
changed.
what you were going to say.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, it wasn't very long after that we gave up on any semblance of trying to convince her to keep her hair long. So honestly, it saved an absolute fortune on new hairbrushes. At which
And
point
they didn't get us tangled as much.
well, that's exactly why it saves on so much hairbrushes, because you've probably always maintained your hair. Kindly not saying that no, you've probably actually always had your hair maintained for you up until about now. But you know, she's not gonna say that. But if you let hair get tangled enough, it'll break bristles right off a brush. So we didn't have to buy quite so many. I mean, the hair still got a little bit jumbled up. Particularly after there was the Bluebell Day incident. Everybody but Barnabas will be aware. Bluebell Day is basically around about the spring equinox, when when the days are starting to when it's starting to get to be actually spring. There's a big festival to look for the first bluebells of spring, which, according to myth, the goddess of springtime leaves under the basically under the branches / root system of the oldest oak in the region. And,
I see.
Apparently, Remi had heard in school that the oldest oak in the region wasn't necessarily in town. So she wandered out about a mile out of the city centre to a particularly large oak tree. So we are informed later by the crew that she ran around with at the time. Was rummaging under the because this was a rather large tree. It had been disturbed by a couple of storms, so some of its roots were exposed, and you know how they sort of hump up and things above ground. And she got stuck.
Hmm.
It did unfortunately take about an hour and a fair bit of squirming because no one actually wanted to cut into the roots of the oldest oak tree in the region. But she came out of it, a bit bruised, a bit squeezed. Her clothes were unsalvageable. Her hair was an absolute disgrace. I spent about an hour and a half picking the sticks out of it. But she turns up in all her battered glory, triumphantly brandishing a handful of the first bluebells of spring like a hero with a sword.
Hmm.
Ever the paladin, huh?
Apparently. And then, of course, it was effectively annoying dwarves until one of them actually agreed to teach her swordplay. And teach her all the swear words.
That one.
She eventually wound up with a gentleman from the mercenary company's named Broader. She came home with so many bruises. So very, very many bruises. I had a standing account at, kind of unfortunately, Sweetwater and Sisters, although Allie was still a little too young at that point to cause too much in the way of mischief. And then that last year, she was having her very brief, ill-starred time in Egreth, which we apparently don't talk about. But I did have a standing order for various bruise salves there, just so that I made absolutely sure to have some in stock when she came back with a mouthful of dwarven swear words and ribcage covered in bruises.
Proud of those, huh?
I mean, it made her what she is today, so I don't see why she wouldn't be.
Yeah, it turns around to both parents and Ava and goes, insofar as Broader's concerned, Remi's not the only one that one made who they are today. Looks at the parents. You know how his merc company suffered something of a issue before they met up with Remi? Well, that issue was my parents. The Broader survived because I intervened. That was when I found out I was Azamar.
Oh.
She's deciding to leave out the I got chucked off an airship
Yeah,
tower.
I was thinking. Ava was thinking about that, but would prefer not to mention it.
Yeah, she's putting a little bit more of it together. It's like, his repaying me for that one was the axe, which belonged to his half-orc colleague, and paying for me to get the hell out. Which is how I ended up north and learned to be at least part of what I am now, and then I wound up going south because I wasn't meant to be up north. And that's when I met these guys, so Istus moves in mysterious ways.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them hysterical.
Because what a sense of humor that the
You've got Corey just having this look of oh boy.
Romance sample in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Amel actually butts in here with Barnabas. How did you come to join them? I thought you would, from what we understood, you transferred to the Howlers after the incident that led our Remi to paladinhood.
It's I did transfer to the Howlers, but I actually ran into them fairly recently, and I had been tired of the mercenary life. They basically adopted me whether I wanted to or not. Not that I'm complaining. So it was an out to stop him from being the mercenary life because I was just tired of it.
Entirely fair. There is a certain amount of lip thinning on Corey's part, which seems to translate to I kind of wish that Remi had decided that in a safer way, but she's happy, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut. So, you're sharing their adventures.
I'm sharing the adventures. I'm actually looking to see if there's any way for me to get back home. I'm not from here.
I froze entirely.
I really would, and hopefully try to get back to where I belong.
Alice, very quietly, we can tell about various Hearthhome kids getting to pet his nose. Getting his horns stuck in a ceiling beam.
And the entire store stock of chocolate.
Fudge.
It was all the fudge, not just the chocolate fudge. I hope you left some of that for Remi. She does like that. Yes, she did. Don't worry about it. She got some. It's fine. So, what are your plans while you're in the city?
Relaxing a bit, picking up supplies, and
Bit of shopping, yeah.
we'll probably be heading back out in another 2 days or so.
I feel a reluctance to go any further than that, but I am going to ask where you're going. Agrif. Amel just puts a hand on Corey's shoulder. They're going to do something dangerous. They're adventurers. They do that. I don't have to like it, Amel.
Devrin's not saying anything, but he's got his lips like, and with a look at his face like, yeah, but
you'll have to get used to it at some point, Corey. I just want my Remi to be able to continue to come home. Look at what she's. And by this point, they're having the classic argument and not really paying that much attention to you guys beyond. Look at who she's traveling with.
Do we hear what they're whispering or not?
They're not whispering.
Ava's not sure what to think about the look who she's traveling with.
She's got all these people to protect her or to help protect her. Corey, because she is mom, and at this point she doesn't care. She's actually got people she cares about. She's probably fallen in love first. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's the first time. All I say is just, I've done reading too. Corey, she's fallen in love with a protector Azamar, and it's mutual. I would not worry about it.
Remi is a very long drink.
Remi, let it happen. Let it happen.
Just giggle. Just
Mom and Mama did this all the time. Or rather, their equivalent of it all the time.
Yeah,
So let it happen. There's family.
There's still a certain amount of flailing right up until Alice, who apparently feels she can butt in because she's family, just going, if you guys want to continue having this conversation, we can go someplace else, probably. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Remi. No, I worry.
I know, Mom.
And apparently silence falls over the dinner table.
if it's any comfort, we don't care for anything to happen to her either.
No, but she doesn't care to have anything happen to you either, and
Well, that's how it works. We protect each other.
yes, it's just that
Teamwork is.
Broader did describe her as stupidly heroic.
That's why we're here, to keep her from going too far with that.
Yeah, except that could apply to, well, yeah. I think pretty much all of us. Well, actually, no. I was about to say not Froseth, but no, never mind.
Excuse the hell, and Alice is just excuse the hell out of me.
Remember? Yeah. Well, that's why exactly.
It was only a few hours ago.
Exactly. That's why I was like, oh well, yeah. Never mind.
Yeah.
Wise.
She just turns around to Corey and goes, no, we're not going to tell you what happened earlier today. It's better that you don't know. But we got out of it with some bruises. That's about it. I mean, come on, it was kobolds, mostly.
Yeah, it was worked out fine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's
That's eventually-
kobolds.
Yep.
You live in Mercenary Town. Surely you must know that unless you're, like, literally being swamped with the fuckers, pardon me, you don't really have a problem. It was a bunch of kobolds.
Yep.
Yeah, there were a lot of them, but
We
to
dispatched
have
them
actually
back.
done the swamping that Alice is describing would have taken 5 to 6 times that.
Gosh, how many did you hit, Froseth? In one
That
time?
was
I still
all.
can't believe that. That was
I
beautiful.
think it was about not far from a dozen.
Something like that. Yeah, it was like 10, I think. It was just bam. It was a whole jeez. Wow, amazing. It was incredible. Look at him. Look at his face.
All he had to do was
I
open his
didn't
mouth.
count.
All he had to do was open his mouth and breathe, and about
Oh well, no, I'm
a
talking
third
about
of them
before
just
that, but yes,
stopped. I'm aware. I'm just.
right.
Alice elbows Darvin fairly hard in the side and is going, she's trying not to complicate the issue given some of our shinies. And that quietly, while Mel and Corey are just sort of staring and like, that sounds, if he hit about a dozen, that still sounds like an awful lot of kobolds.
Yeah. But to deal with adventurers, kobolds need to come in quantities of 50, 70, 100 at a time.
We definitely did not face 100 kobolds, Mother, so...
Not even close.
We were actually picking posies earlier. It's fine.
The point is, we are fine. We're going to be fine, and we'll keep each other safe.
It's just a little tricksy when the only thing we hear about what you all, and by extension our Remi, is doing is through tavern ballads.
And you know they exaggerate.
So you didn't kill a green dragon.
I'm just watching Remi's facial journey happen.
Yeah, it was like
They very likely exaggerated the size of it.
Every time he
Adult?
says exaggerated, Darwin just like got this look on his face like, hey.
Adult?
I guess.
And you weren't abducted by Archfey?
Only for like the half a day.
And forced to fight more dragons?
Those were definitely not adults.
those were tiny.
Not adults. Not adults, Mike.
And you weren't, you didn't charge headlong into the Shadowfell? And Alisage yourself.
We had
It's
a guide
gotten
with
around
us.
now, too.
We were not charging in blindly.
We had a Horizon Walker with us.
I'm just trying to explain that we hear things.
Well,
Maybe Remi should
Maybe-
write more often.
I was just about to suggest that.
Maybe Remi should write a little bit more detail. Mostly what we get is, dear mom and dad, everything is fine. I'm doing all right. I'm in X spot with these people, and we're managing.
Yeah, and those
I
are
hope-
the most
I hope-
important
I hope-
things.
I suppose what they mean is if you leave too little, if you give too little, they imagine the worst.
And we hear it in tavern ballads!
Mm.
Seriously, spend a half an hour in the book Bow and Dragon.
I have done that before.
No, I mean currently.
How exponentially expansive has this gotten?
There are certainly stories, let's put it that way. There's something about ancient horrors from beneath the waves with tentacles for faces that mighty paladin of Tritherion managed to disembowel. We didn't hear anything about that.
Mm-hmm.
Remi, Slayer of Evil.
I'm just saying that's the only place we get our details. Because we get from Remi, everything's fine.
All right, a little more detail next time.
Thank you. Now, can we have a minor conversation about saving your girlfriend by vowing the rest of your effective life to?
No, we may not.
That's
Alice is
complicated.
just-
Yeah, the laugh reaction there for me was out of character because
Yeah.
Darwin's just.
Barnabas is absolutely sniggering.
He was like, anything.
Alice just raises a hand with her head buried in the other one, going, "In my defense, it's not like I could stop her."
He can be very steadfast.
Remi beams at LSA.
I mean, you're clearly not unhappy with this deal, but given some of what we've heard about that kind of pact, we worry a little bit.
You have nothing to worry about in that specific regard.
You're an adventurer, not a lawyer. What regard do we have to worry about?
Darwin's just.
You
Well,
They got you
will
there.
One.
You did walk directly into that one.
You do have to answer now.
Yes, we're fighting dangerous dragon-related things, but
That's
We are
kind
well
of
equipped for that.
And the tainting, festering ooze from beyond the plains.
We're equipped to deal with that too.
You do have
There
means
is-
of protecting ourselves.
There is not a force on this or any other plane that will prevent us from worrying about you.
I know.
But we
I'm
need to
just-
know what we're worrying about, or we're going to exponentially worry. Don't try to spare us, darling.
Yes, there are adult dragons and extra dimensional corruptions, and it's very dangerous, but it's what I've been called to face.
We understand that. We weren't necessarily talking about right now, because we mostly got the picture, if not from your lips, then from everybody else's face. We just mean in general, darling. We need to know, or we're just going to get it from Tavern Tales, and that's going to exaggerate things, as you say. And even though we'll try to take everything with a pinch of salt, it's still worrisome. We know you can take care of yourself, but when there's so many things that you won't tell us, we worry that you're hiding all sorts of things. And it's not like we can stop you. We're not going to lock you in the basement. Corey, you talked about doing that like last month. I was joking mostly.
Would it put you at ease if we described an actually really good thing we managed to do? If that's okay with you, Dalvin.
Yeah, actually, I was wondering if we wanted to mention that.
Well, a great partly thanks to Remi, Froseth, Alice, Darwin, and Hazel. You might have heard that Star Coast was basically destroyed.
We was dead.
Blighted.
Dead, yeah.
And, well, they together managed to restore it.
Really sure how a patch of land dies. How does one die, and how does one get resurrected? I'm not entirely sure I'm okay with the concept.
I wasn't too clear on that either, to be honest.
I suppose, like a being, the lands have a heart, and Starcoast's heart was destroyed, and we created a new one, basically.
Yep.
Oh, they did.
Mel is sitting and pondering, going, I wonder if our provinces have hearts. They do. They do. I think they're just with your governors. I mean, come on. I know that there's the rumors that, like, they're a little bit beyond the normal. Well, it's the fact that we've had Hjalf Fortinbras at the exact same age ever since I was a baby, and long before then. So we do have certain questions about that. Well, hearts of baronies are supernatural. They don't die unless they get killed. Maybe in this particular instance, they found a way to make that a two-way street. I don't know.
But either way, it's back. Star Coast.
I mean, it's good to hear. I think I might be missing the scope of it a bit, because I don't really know what it means for a place to be dead. And I don't think I'd understand even if you explained
Yeah.
verbally.
It's yeah, as a concept it is kind of, I'm still kind of wrapping my head around it, and we did it at the same time.
Yeah.
In a way it's sort of like with with a piece of music, it's almost like taking the the notes and kind of flattening them out, to where it loses its oomph, its energy, its impact. And we brought that back. We brought,
Alisay looks at they still somewhat not quite getting it looks on the faces of Corey and Amel. It's like have you ever baked a loaf of bread and you forgot the salt? That gets them a little more. It's like we haven't Remy's first 5 attempts. Though there was the time she substituted sugar because she was sure that it would be better that way, and we did end up with rather interesting sweet bread, which nonetheless was still a little. I think it does something to the texture as well as the flavor. But anyway, that makes a certain amount more sense. It's something that you could theoretically live on if you could be bothered.
Yeah, pretty much. You could survive, but you wouldn't thrive.
Alisay looks over. Actually, I think they've got it a bit more right. It's you could survive, you could live on it, but why would you want to? And that's why nobody did.
Yep.
They avoided it just because it was lifeless, flavorless, off, wrong.
Bland.
And that's the thing. Without people, it can't live any more than it can without its heart, because everything like that is in some kind of symbiotic relationship or something. Suffice to say that we baked a new loaf. I don't know.
But that's...
Point, you've got Corey leaning over to Remi. Now, please don't take this as my discouraging you from abandoning the adventuring life before you're ready, because I wouldn't do that no matter how much I worry. But when you do reach retirement age, have you ever considered you and Alisay possibly adopting? Because I think you two would raise wonderful children.
Mother!
And Alisay is just...
At which point, Darvin is just very quietly like...
David's like,
It's not quite golf clap because it's more excited than that, but it's that quiet clapping, just sort of, yay, that's a brilliant idea, yay, I am all for this type of
Alisay is
reaction.
just, oh Christ.
Clarity on a scale of 1 to, let's say arbitrarily 10, how much were you expecting this situation to come up?
Who was that to, Smeagol?
That was to Clarity.
I don't know. I had no expectations whatsoever.
At which point Corey is, oh, are you two an item?
that's a good question, actually.
And apparently everybody's waiting for an answer for this.
I think I'm like, do I need to make a dex check to see whether or not I've fallen out of my chair
I
laughing?
would definitely like the answer to be in the positive direction. I'm just kind of, trying to be patient.
This is good goose. It's really good goose.
In a more private setting.
Amel is just, honestly, we were doing that to take the heat a bit more off Remi. We're terribly sorry to sacrifice you on the altar of our daughter's comfort.
Just sort of buries her and just starts eating.
Maybe just pats her shoulder.
and Puffy rises from Remi's foot and glump, 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 and poof onto Clarity's foot.
No.
Love
Very-
you, Clarity.
Take off some goose and sort of offering it to Puppy.
But mostly he's just there for comfort, because he seems to be picking who needs the comfort. And Alisay is just very quietly to Remi, can I come out now?
Well, that butterscotch wanting to come out.
No, this is Alice A. So still doing this and sort of in
face
Remi's general direction. Can I come out now?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Conversation goes on like that for the rest of dinner. Amel has put together a bag of baked goods with a supplementary bag of cookies for Flitty because that is how it is done. You are invited for at least tea and baked goods of various descriptions before you leave. Amel going, I promise I will put a curb bit on Corey if you do decide to come around for tea. You actually did come at a relatively good time. We had to close a bit early because there were these glittery-legged things.
Oh,
We didn't get the shop.
Sweetwater
That's
and
strange.
Sisters happened again.
yeah.
Yes, they were all over the shop. Our
no.
usual clientele of little ones buying the day olds. Had a wonderful time chasing them out for us, but
Oh,
there's still glitter all over everything, so we've got some cleaning to do.
No.
No, you have
Oh.
other things to do.
okay.
We're not going to turn a bunch of brave, stalwart adventurers into our personal cleaning service. Particularly not given that we've already embarrassed you, or some of you, rather drastically already today. And Corey is like, I'm not apologizing.
We'll try very much to make it for tea in a day or two.
Hugs, Remi. I do love you. It's just kind of my job to embarrass you and worry.
I know, Mom. Love you too.
No.
Hugs around the place. Alice A is just still a little stiff and like, all right, I'll apologize to. I'm sorry I put you on the spot. It didn't really occur to me that you didn't really have any of this kind of experience either. Just, you said you weren't apologizing. I'm not going to say it's okay, but I'll live. Remi has never seen Corey look at this contrite, ever.
Oh, wow.
On the on the way out, Darvin will just because wander over to Puffy, give him a few pets, tap a few notes on his drum, and do cast Speak with Animals just for the sake of being able to go. It was wonderful to see you again.
Aw.
I want the one with the tail to talk to me.
I'm sorry, Butterscotch is incapable of speech.
No, the bipedal one with the tail.
Oh,
Also, Clank Mom.
Mhm.
She's not wearing the clank, but I can smell the clank.
Remi, Puffy would like to speak with you and Froseth as well.
Remi,
The female.
Other tail.
Oh, I yield.
we have several people with tails.
Sorry, wrong one. Sorry, Froseth. Sorry, not wrong. I was wrong. I apologize. Clarity. And Remi, Puffy would like to see you.
First to. Okay, lady with horns.
Thank you.
You have best hands.
I will. Puffy says you have the best hands.
What a good doggy. Who's the best doggy?
Okay, I don't even need to translate that face.
and then bumbles up to Remi and just goes, I wish you didn't have to go away, but I know that you do, and I'm probably going to have to go away someday more kind of permanently, but I just wanted to say that I have loved you since you were a puppy, and I was a puppy, and we were puppies together, and I will love you even when I am on wherever we go when we're not running anymore. And then boom on Remy's feet.
And yeah, I will
Remy, fix him up.
say all of that
them.
through getting teary-eyed.
Thank you.
Nuzzle,
Remy.
nuzzle, nuzzle.
Oh my god, you made him cry.
And just nuzzle, 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 and just Abella and Corey in particular are just doing the aww. Buffy then tilts head towards Alice and goes, and then looks back at Remy. You're in good paws. That even
And yeah, I'm making sure to address that to both of them.
Alice gives a scritch. Pale or willing, you will live a long and healthy life. And when you go, I'm going to ask my dad to put in a word and let you watch Clank Mom. Scritch, scritch, scritch. I like her.
I don't think I have to translate that face again.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
leave
let's-
them to the evening.
I love
Thank
being
you
able to do
again
that.
for everything.
And off you go with the. So that's okay. That happened.
I guess
Yeah.
Witness the crest twins.
Okay, somebody really needs to break the awkward.
Yep.
Theoretically, yeah, if Ava wanted to kind of change the subject, she does have present.
Oh, by the way. Hey.
Thanks. Okay, this is less breaking the awkward and shifting it all onto me, but I can take it. It's okay. Do I open it?
Feel free.
Apparently, one of the things with people is you keep everything, so she's very carefully unwrapping it so that the paper is all kept, and so is the ribbon. Oh, wow! Thanks.
I actually had a little help from Remi for that.
Tucks it into her hair, kisses Remi on the cheek, and then Ava spin hug. Whee! You're frozen.
Yeah, Darvin quickly steps out of foot
more,
range.
She's more careful than that.
Oh, I know.
She's not me.
Oh, I know she's more careful than that, but Darvin's also kind of playing it up a little bit, just again for the sake of, let's shift
Break
it
the tension?
Yeah, exactly. So he's sort of.
It does get a roll of the eyes. Watch it, or next time I will use you for an improvised weapon.
Oh boy.
Because you can do it. I have done it.
I don't know why, but we do not exaggerate. We embellish.
Actually, to be fair, Darvin, you're talking completely out your ass. We don't exaggerate about each other, but bards exaggerate all the time.
Yeah, and within about a day, I expect there to be stories about hitting a motherfucker with another motherfucker.
And that's the thing. It's not. You see, you're forgetting that for us, what other people call exaggeration, we call dramatic license.
Gotta have flash, don't you?
Harumph.
And yes, I have in fact hit a motherfucker with another motherfucker.
All hail Alice, she who can do grievous harm with a body.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was we'd had a bit of a some of the brass arrows decided that they wanted a little bit more class in their company of the evening, so we had a bunch of them turn up at the Tipsy Pixie, and they were not the politest people in the world. Let's put it to you that way. And that particular bunch was a little bit off with me because I was the one that came back with just me. And like with you guys, I approached asking if, I could go out with them the next time they went to... They called me the failure. I may have said something unforgivable, at least what they considered unforgivable. I don't exactly remember what it was now, but something about, honestly, at this point, I'm not, I wouldn't want to join any club that would have you as a member. They tried to punch me. A fight broke out. That was a mistake for all of them, and I did wind up slinging a half orc at a Goliath.
Oh my gosh!
Threw a big lad at a big lad.
That's hefty.
Big lad and a big lad. I can use that.
I is drunk. So yeah, now I kind of do.
Right.
Well, and now I kind of do want to use Darfin as an improvised weapon, particularly if he goes sword first.
Hey, you're not the only one who has designs on throwing fellow party members.
Yeah, actually.
I've got a decent chance of landing on my feet if you throw me at someone.
I've already done it to Ava.
Yeah. And I actually somehow pulled you up out
The
of
trap.
that. Yeah.
Thing is getting actual error, but I could do like there's this we have kind of festive games up north, and there's one thing where you've got an iron ball on a chain and you whip it around a little while and then fling, and you try to aim it for specific spots and see who gets it the farthest down the right line. I could do that with Froseth, and he probably would land on his feet, probably towards swinging.
If we ever go up to if you ever participate in one of those games, I am not doing the ball. I would throw it the opposite direction and clock someone. The crockery was enough of an escapade. I don't want a repeat occurrence.
Yeah, that's probably wiser.
I've missed most of this conversation because I'm like considering the aerodynamics of me. So you just see Darvin just sort of considering, and he's making hand motions like he's miming arcs. And
well, when Alice notices that, it's sort of she does sort of reaches down, grabs him by the ankle, 2 swings, and whee!
And all you hear is a strangled squawk.
He does land by design in a market stall about 20 feet on. That's all like cushions. So it's
upon landing, I do not move because I'm just like okay.
From above. You can get up now.
Okay.
The half elf who's manning the stall going, yeah, I actually wish you would get out of my wares.
Sorry.
Although there is applause when you guys start applauding, just so anybody else who was watching that follow suit, including the half elf. But he's still saying, "Get up."
Sorry.
You're alive, Darvin. Get up.
Look, I didn't know where I landed. I didn't want to move and break something else. Anyway.
Does that give you enough first-hand information about the aerodynamics of you?
Yes, thank you.
Good, you can stop making those weird hand gestures. Somebody's gonna think you're casting something.
Oh, right, sorry. Math is not my strong suit. At least not with regards to music.
At least not when it's not in regards to music, because I
Yes,
imagine
that's what
that math is the one place that By this point, you're back in the main market, so you've got the Book, Bow, and Dragon over there, and the Bravo's Boast over there, and it's like, do we want to see who, if anyone, is telling tales about us, or do we want to just crash and check that out tomorrow?
What time is it now?
I'm game for checking out the chatter.
About 9:30-ish. It's been a day.
Early.
I'm gonna go to sleep. It's been a day.
That is an understatement and a
I'm
half.
good with either.
I mean, anybody who wants to crash, we know where the rooms are. We got keys and everything, so.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody wants to come out for like a, to be fair, it at least keeps some of the pressure off Jed and Jazz, because they're, if we want to have a last nightcap, better not to overburden them.
Alrighty, Ava, let's go.
Ree?
Remi looks to LSA.
You wanna come for a drink?
Yes, I do.
I'm grabbing Clarity by one arm and Ava by the other, and boom.
Process, Barnabas.
I mean, if everyone else is going, I'll go along
Yeah.
as well.
All right, then.
We're just thinking a quick one just to see what.
Sure.
Just to get the lay of the land, and hey, you can have a proper occupied, Hazel.
There's
Oh, what?
squeeing as I continue hauling the other two.
We're at about break time, so when we come back, Barnabas can ask and get an explanation for what an occupied is, and we can move on to the following day and what y'all are going to do with your day off. And we're back with the Cupcake Coterie walking into the book Bow and Dragon with its sign depicting Twilly, Miranda, and Lyra. And they're in the middle of, they're towards the end of a ballad, the story of which most of you all know quite well. This is they're talking about the killing of the red dragon, and more to the point, at the point in which you enter the bargain struck to return the warrior to life. So they've got to around Remi's point at this.
So, who wants drinks?
I know I was talking about occupieds, but I have I had a thought, and I want to see if the bartender can do it. So if y'all want to find a seat or something, I can go grab that. Meanwhile, let me see if I can find in my archived. Yes.
I was more intrigued by how did they know about that? We were in the middle of the desert, away from any.
Stories travel. And I froze again.
No, that's the bar, and there's a few people working at the bars. The stage is up from that, behind the entire rectangular bar, but in each corner of the rectangle there's a little box for the bard currently on stage is a half elf with an acoustic guitar, and singing the love ballad portion thereof with possibly embarrassing bit of floridness. It's like I'm. How are y'all on chocolate?
Sounds
I
good.
approve of chocolate.
Yeah.
Chocolate's good.
Yes,
She's
yes.
mostly saying this for Remy's benefit because she knows Remy likes chocolate.
Yeah.
And I think I can throw in a little bit of mint because I know Ferrisith likes that. So if you guys want to grab a table, I will be right with you. Just let me know. Are you going to be in the main room to be listening to the singers singing their various bits, or do you want to go to one of the tables in one of the little snug bits and have a bit more quiet?
I'm going to insight check Remy about whether or not how Remy's reacting to this, and whether or not it would be smarter to just sidle off into a side.
Insight check away.
Would we still hear from the slightly more secluded bits?
Not as clearly.
11.
You're well, actually, to be fair, make a deception check, Remy.
Honestly.
Oh, jeez!
She's not necessarily hiding.
It's Remy is giving the impression of doesn't quite care.
Just inscrutable expression.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not overly embarrassed.
As far as anyone could tell. It's like Alice is just like I'll find you guys. Gets to the bar.
I'm heading to a table where we can hear stuff because that's part of why we came in. So I'm gonna head right to a table.
In that direction too.
That's fair.
Well, look, there's one of the larger tables out towards sort of that one. It's good and close to the bar, so Alice won't be having to carry things too far in. She comes back with a tray of faintly steaming, kind of fancy-looking glass mugs with a chocolate milky-looking thing in them, topped with now melting whipped cream, and sets them in front of everyone. The smell is chocolate, mint, and booze.
Ooh.
Huh. That's interesting.
It's hot chocolate, chocolate liqueur, mint schnapps, and whipped cream.
I'm gonna situate myself in the seat that's at 2:00 on the table there. That way I can kind of lean back and see the stage and looking to the side a little. So.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean this is creamy, mint chocolatey, warming.
I'm like, I'm part of me is like, I want to taste this, but at the same time, I also just kind of want to breathe it. This smells amazing.
Drink it before it gets cold, Calvin.
Okay, fair. Okay.
I mean, it's okay cold too, but those ones you can make a thicker version, which is that ice cream and some milk and blended, and you get this sort of thick, ice creamy sludge stuff with booze. But because it's kind of colder outside, I thought this would be better for most of us. Looking at Ferrisith with a bit of a wink.
Much appreciated.
Very much enjoying.
They've wound down the that particular ballad of embarrassment and are. Let me just check on something here. Thankfully, nobody has apparently noticed you, so there's not any particular malice to the fact that they segue directly into a you're not entirely sure how they heard about the rescue mission to the Shadowfell, but they seem to have got it, but they've turned it into something that sounds a bit like the Tale of Orpheus. Alice is just going.
Remy pauses mid-step.
How do they hear about this stuff?
Fuck my life completely.
Welcome to Bard.
Because, like, we don't tell anyone about it.
Bards
Ava.
are pretty good at these things.
Ava.
What?
Welcome to Bard.
Mm,
That's how.
yeah,
Besides,
yes.
keep in mind we have a psychopump, Horizon Walker, and a friend of ours who's her traveling companion.
Hmm.
Who knows where the hell they can get?
Sure.
And they were there.
Also true.
Yeah,
So
for all we
it's-
know, these bards have gone to elemental planes and other sorts of things.
Yeah, as that's going on, they are starting to get some looks from people in various tables, and there's occasional elbowing and pointing. Anybody else feel like they're being watched? So,
Yep.
A little bit. I'm keeping an eye out and glancing at anyone who might seem suspicious.
insight check.
Yes, ma'am.
God, looking at your insight, that was actually a very poor roll on
20.
your part. But no, this is combination. To be fair, this is mostly just hero worship at this point. This is an upmarket establishment, and this is Legends Walk Among Us look.
So no one I'm toward. Okay.
Nope.
Good to know.
They don't put up with that sort of shit in here anyway.
Meanwhile, Darvin's just sitting there like, I'm a bard. I'm used to getting watched. I'm good. I'm enjoying
That's
this
kind of
drink
your
and
thing.
watching the stage. I'm happy.
That's kind of your thing, I suppose. Yes.
I guess we are proper adventurers now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, drink
What?
to that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I used to come in here and read and hear about all of the things you guys would get up to.
Oh,
It was nice.
yay. Well, now you get to get work back into the songs. Well, worked into new ones, rather. You get what I mean.
Yeah. Yes.
They do once that one is done and you guys are about 2/3 done with your drinks. Break into a comedy song about the cactus incident.
Oh man, I was
Those-
hoping they'd get into the bunny ones. Oh well, maybe next time. Look, some of those were really good.
The cacti stung.
They
Oh.
suck.
Yes.
They absolutely suck.
I use thaumaturgy and go, tell a bunny one! Tell a bunny one!
I love you, Clarity.
And thus the
that
scene
has
begins.
drawn the bard's attention to your table.
I'm pointing it. I'm gonna go like this to point at Clarity and do message and be like, I love you, Clarity. You hear that in your head over everybody.
At which point, the bard, once he's wound down, the other one is like, "We have a request from the Cupcake Coterie themselves," and actually gestures to the table. And everybody is now looking at you, and there is a certain amount of applause for all concerned.
I'm applauding the bard. You're coming up. I'm like, yay! I'm looking appropriately, just like, yes, I'm happy, and yay, you're awesome, yay!
They do launch into one bunny bard story, which was largely, I mean, it's a local flavor tale as he describes it before he launches in. It's that time that you turned back into a human in the doll's house.
Oops.
Like, I think it was on top of somebody and knocked over an entire pile of living plushy snakes, and it all went.
Oh yes.
Oh, boy.
I am a because I'm trying not to laugh so loud. I lost the word. Go over the top of this.
Overshoot.
trying to not...
Overwhelm.
Thank you.
You muted again. You're muted again.
I keep doing that, but yeah, no, it's obvious that I'm just loving it, and it's just
And when he's done with that, he does announce an entirely new song, and it really is "Roll, Roll, Roll Your Bar Gently Down the Street."
At which point I'm probably fallen out of the chair, and I'm just holding my sides. Just, it's not loud because I can't breathe.
He was trying to keep her decorum, but
Eventually, I will.
Far lean over to make sure. Okay, he's good.
Yeah.
Dragonborn.
At some point, I will make my way back to my chair, but I'm crying, and I'm trying to fish out a coin, a gold coin, and just be like, somebody put that in the box. I can't make it.
Say at which point takes the gold, walks to the bar, puts it in the box, keeps walking, taps the dude on the shoulder, and says, "Make way for Pro."
oh boy.
Oh Christ! She blows him out of the fucking water. In her case, she goes through, and according to the reactions of the audience, better than this guy has managed to do, y'all's killing of Corivelle. Largely in don't, so you guys know the style by now. But they strengthen the face of this, and effectively what they are fighting for, and finishes it off with a flourish. And as some of you may be aware, we have been tasked with clearing the resupply and reinforcement path for the mercenaries of Belarys to Goldendale. Hopefully that has given you some indication of how well your governor has chosen. And don't get too comfortable, gentlemen. You'll be properly mobilizing without fear of a blue asshole fairly soon. They bow, and the place goes wild.
Yeah, Darwin's back on his feet and just big clap, boom, boom.
And flumps down in her chair, downs the rest of her drink. Punk.
That was amazing.
I'm not even going to try to follow that. I've played here before anyway, so I'm good.
Next time.
Yeah, maybe.
The barman actually poodles over, empties one of the coin boxes and just into a sack and sort of hands that to Alice and goes, "I kind of figure you earned it." More shopping money.
Yeah. I actually have a few thoughts on what you might need to shop for.
I've got some ideas. I know.
Remi, eyes, Hazel.
Yeah, you're getting from the power couple. You're getting a look.
And a slight raised eyebrow from Ava because she's thinking of the vanishing stuff.
What, Hazel?
Well, at the very least, more spell components, because we're going to be up to our eyeballs in blue asshole, and that inevitably goes sideways, so I'm going to make sure we're stocked on Revivify things, at the very least.
Good point. And I need to get more stuff for my stealth spell. I'm still
there should probably be some herbalist stalls, if you can pick and mix, but you can't really expect the jewelers to know anything about the base component shops anyway. So asking gentlemen of Egref reputation was probably not the best person you could have asked. But we'll have a day between various tattoos to shop around and have a bit of time. Big question. First should probably go last. His is going to take the longest, so having his be the last before they close is probably the best idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
In case it overruns, the scales thing.
Right.
If that's okay by you, Furseth.
Yeah.
Well, I meant what I said. I'm perfectly happy with, the one, well, technically more, but you know what I mean, that I have. And
Well, you have two that actually do anything, and one's just a mark of what's going on in your soul, so...
yeah. Ava, Clarity, Barnabas, I know none of you have had the chance. Remi, Hazel, Alice, do any of you guys have
I
any
had a
ideas?
thought.
Oh?
Yeah, I had an idea.
Oh.
Idea.
Oh. Okay.
Well, I was looking over the sheet thing, and I wonder how much it would cost for all of us to get the glyph of far speak.
If I remember right, didn't you guys told me that you discussed that before and too much, if memory serves?
Yeah.
I don't
Because
remember.
yeah, I think you had just about left them, but that's more directed at the people who were with at the time. If I recall correctly, the problem was that for that many people, and we have more people now, it's got to be from the exact same batch of ink, and they have to make it special because otherwise the spell doesn't work. Because something about the spell is sympathetic through the ink.
Yeah, the resonance or something like that. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, that was more of a labor issue that
We
made the
might
cost exorbitant.
we might ask around in Egref though, because they might just have earrings that can do that or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
What
sure.
That'd be neat.
Okay.
Very.
Yes.
What about for those of us who don't see as well in the dark getting that glyph of Owl's sight? And I'm going to pull out the paper and point to it.
Okay, first of all, from an out of character perspective, keep in mind that this stuff is expensive because the materials are limited. And part of the reason that the materials are limited and the number of people who can get this at a time are limited is because I am not having all of you just eradicate your species limitations in one go.
That's fair.
I mean, half of you can see perfectly well in the dark, approximately. Three out of the 8, and that's not bad. And then with the number of people of you that can cast light, and that would be Alice's thing. I have a feeling that they probably won't have enough in stock for all of us that can, that can see in the dark, that can't see in the dark. And most of us have spells that can make light anyway. If anyone was going to do it, it'd be one person, and I'd have it be either... Well, actually, no, we don't even need to do that, because the person who can sneak ahead can see in the dark.
Yep.
Let's not completely eradicate the wonderful usefulnesses and, waste the money on things that we can do a workaround on.
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna go through I'm gonna see if I can come up with any of the other remaining stupid ideas so we can make sure to have those out of the way and consider just the proper ones.
Thank you, Hazel. I appreciate you you jumping on that instead of me, I think.
Remi takes out another one of the pamphlets and nudges Alice's arm and then points to the Zephyr Strike one. That looks handy, doesn't it?
It's been helpful to me.
Possibly, but I had a couple of slightly different thoughts. Honestly, I was thinking something a little bit more in the way of jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
I was pondering the All-Seer's chain.
The one with clairvoyance in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
What would
definitely
that
an
do? Let you
interesting idea.
see.
To read you guys the spell a bit, you create an invisible sensor within range in a location familiar to you, a place you have visited or seen before, or in an obvious location that is unfamiliar to you, such as behind a door, around a corner, or in a grove of trees. The sensor remains in place for the duration, and it can't be attacked or otherwise interacted with. When you cast the spell, you choose seeing or hearing. You can use the chosen sense through the sensor as if you were in its space. As your action, you can switch between seeing and hearing. A creature that can see the sensor, such as a creature benefiting from see invisibility or true sight, sees a luminous intangible orb about the size of your fist. And let's face it, there's a couple of people who might find that a useful thing to be able to do, just because they'd be able to describe what they're seeing or hearing particularly well. I'm one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Besides,
Oh,
it would
cool.
leave me tattoo space. I just kind of, but I can't wear it.
Well,
I can't have two tattoos in the same place.
While we're on
I'm
the
glad I didn't already
jewelry
get a tattoo
thing,
in that place then.
You have enough ways of getting from point A to point B.
It's true,
Yeah.
but it's
while
nice
we're
to
on
have
the
options.
jewelry thing, I think the one that grants tongues would also be interesting, at the very least, to solve for someone with a skill with speaking to solve our communication hiccups.
Well,
So you mean Darvin? You mean Darvin having it wouldn't be? I had been actually, to be fair, I had been wondering about getting a tongue stud for other reasons.
And at this point, Hazel's just now staring straight forward and is clearly like seeing through time, or her imagination's running wild, or whatever the fuck is going on in her head. Steam's coming out her ears, and she's slowly imitating Clarity's skin color.
So he's just leaving it there because
I'm looking up at the stage with very rapt attention at this point.
Not to sound stupid, but how much does this stuff cost?
variable. It depends on the thing, what they have the materials for. I mean, I am carrying lots of different bits that they can use, and so much fucking money. So I can pitch in places. So I could get the bit that does tongues, the bit that gets clairvoyance, and possibly the glyph of Undead's Bane.
Ooh, that could
and
be useful,
anti-life shell.
What does Zephyr Strike do? I don't.
Makes you go faster.
Have it.
And you.
Well, it means you don't your movement doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity, and you can have advantage on. Here, let me read what Zephyr Strike does. Until the spell ends, your movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. Once before the spell ends, you can give yourself advantage on one weapon attack on your turn. The attack deals an extra 1d8 force damage on a hit. Whenever you hit or miss, your walking speed increases by 30 feet until the end of that turn.
That might be really useful for me. When I'm able to hit really hard, I also do additional damage. I get sneak attack when I roll at advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be useful for any of the melee ones, but Froseth and I can't because either they're on the shoulders or perilously close.
I might be interested in that one, provided it's not too expensive. And I do like blue.
I'm kind of liking the lightning strike or tiefling's rebuke myself.
I'm getting to a point where there's a few too many of you who can actually rebuke shit.
I mean,
So
lightning strike.
I'd be, and Froseth is now made of lightning, so
Yeah.
I'm also trying not to have you guys undo some of the special shinies that each of you has, but
True.
Mm-hmm. Some of that's part of the reason why I'm kind of like, no, I'm good as far as tattoos. Other stuff, I have ideas, but
there is one that I think if it doesn't cut, asking if it's possible would be a good thing for Froseth, and if it's not, then potentially Remi, glyph of freedom of movement. But I don't know if Froseth wants to be under the needle that much more anyway, because his is going to take hours.
Well, that one goes around the wrist, and doesn't the steel wind strike go all the way down the arm already?
Pretty much, but you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why Alice is going.
Yeah.
It's worth an ask, and if not,
Yeah.
having our brick here not be able to be rooted to the ground might be nice.
Yeah.
Rules question: freedom of movement says you can escape restraints. Can you cast it if you are already restrained?
Yes.
Okay, that is very handy then.
I mean, basically, you can cast it as long as you can activate whatever it was that you could do.
Okay.
Is the thing. So let's have a quick look at. Flip.
Activated with slap with an open palm to where it is. So.
You could probably just about squirm into doing it, particularly
Okay.
if you're restrained to the point where you know your arms are usually pinned up around there if you were attacking and something goes yink.
Okay.
Yeah, Alice is looking at one in particular, but she's not actually talking about it at the moment. So,
I think I have a feeling I know which one.
tell me, I'll let you know if you're right.
Self-sacrifice?
You know her way too fucking well. I was looking at that, and I'm like, everyone would refuse letting Froseth take that.
To be fair, he is not the font of HP that Alice is. Alice's hit points is around about the 80 mark. Then again, she loses so much of it in most. Yeah, but her right palm is spoken for anyway, so that's not going to happen.
What does Flame Blade do? Does it just put flames on the blade you're carrying?
No, it makes a.
It creates a
Sword of
blade
fire.
of flame.
Don't think she's ready for
Flaming Fist is interesting.
I have burning hands though.
And technically,
that's the
so
reason.
does Froseth when he wants to, but he has to sacrifice some of the other bonuses to use it.
We already have variant. It's interesting. We already have versions of that, as mentioned. So yeah, as I said, I'm going through the dumb ideas right now just to make sure.
A range. What does does anybody feel like life theft would be a bit too creepy? Might take some of the pressure off some of our healers.
I mean, I think it can't hurt. Because they're certainly not gonna. If they have it, they're certainly not going to be afraid to use it.
Well,
That is useful.
there's someone who's already in melee and makes a lot of hand-related attacks that would be good for that.
But that puts him under the needle yet more. So it's entirely down to him. Precedes, what do you think?
Which tattoo specifically?
It's called Glyph of Life Theft. It confers vampiric touch.
Get in touch with your goth side.
Oh, dear sweet babe. You are amazing. Thank you for that.
Yeah, there's some poetry even I won't recite.
No, I don't think for that one. No.
Doesn't really feel like it, no.
No.
Besides, like I keep saying, you're going to be under the needle so much today. Well, tomorrow, you know.
Out of character, I can't lay hands on my copy of the PDF anyway. So.
Though, in a similar sort of vein, just less with healing, more with not getting hits for melee people, the Glyph of Blur, it might work for someone.
I've already got my capabilities.
I can do something similar to myself, but it might work good for...
But yeah, that could be useful.
Yeah.
I've got the boots for that.
At which point Alice is like, why is everybody looking at me?
Because you get up in the face of things a lot.
We'll see what I can afford, but I've got a couple of other things in mind, so
Yeah, it depends a bit
So,
about how
I've got an idea, and I don't know if it's stupid or not.
Never stopped any of us.
Well, considering with the teleportation stuff that Barnabas can do, and also considering the fact that we're dealing with... There's a lot of draconic enemies who tend to like to get in the air. I was like, it'd be kind of interesting to have one with either the flying or the investiture of wind to really surprise the hell out of them for going up at their level.
I've had this discussion, and it's confusing enough.
Okay.
For me, please let me finish the explanation. I mean, because I'm still getting used to this stuff, and we're stuck with a 2D map. If we had a 3D table, I'd have no issue.
Mm-hmm.
As it is, I have a hard enough time working with Alice being able to be in the air.
Mm-hmm.
And she won't not be in the air because, to be fair, her only wish in life is like more flight.
Freedom.
She likes the flying. If she could have permanent wings, she'd do it. I'm sure there are ways, but she'll probably look into that one day. Having more people in the air is hard on me.
Mm-hmm.
But
here's the thought. What about Flame Shield? Because we know that would work well on Remi, that would work well on Barnabas, that could work well on Alice, very much so.
I think most of my bits are already spoken for at this point.
So that leaves Remi and Barnabas as potential candidates for that one, if that is a valid one to use.
I'd honestly suggest Barnabas because the worst thing in the world is burning hair. Points at her hair, just You do not want this. Especially not full body.
I was gonna say he's got a bit more, yeah.
I'm kind of covered, so
Still, believe me, I know from experience that hair that is covered will still smolder. 2 words. Heat metal.
Yeah. We still have the chains that we were planning on using with that, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Good.
Because we're still saving that spell scroll for the black, and we can test out the chains on the blue.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. I wonder how conductive those would be.
No.
Good. No, good. No. I wasn't trying to say you. I'm just wondering, like, chains on a dragon with lightning. The dragon casts lightning, the chains, down the chains into whoever's holding the chains. That was my concern. I was like,
That's the thing. It wouldn't make that much difference because it's still gonna hit the person anyway.
True enough. Okay.
They open their faces and lightning flies out. That's all. Trust me, we're well aware of how much we have to worry about.
Anyway, guys, unless anyone has any last-minute thoughts about this, because we'd like to tick on a little bit here.
Yeah.
This I'm saying both in and out of character. Let's finish our drinks and we'll hit up the place tomorrow.
Yes.
I'll go first because I've got a couple of bits and pieces. Remi after that, and then we'll go about our day and we'll proceed from there. But we can get a good timeline on what everybody's doing once we get there in the morning.
That'll definitely be better, sort of.
God damn it! I keep freezing. I'm having a hell of a time tonight. My feed keeps freezing. Everybody's frozen on my end. And I've lost call completely. Have I lost internet connection entirely? No.
And tries to find like a sort of secluded place where she won't be sort of overheard.
There's alleyways and things, yeah.
Okay. And so she just sort of looks around and says, I have a feeling you're watching me, but I don't know how well. Small barefoot child? Herald?
Long silence, and then there's a tap from behind, on her shoulder from behind her. Tap, tap, tap.
Oh, hello. So,
thank you for the effort.
So your patrons' interest in me, what do they want from me?
They wanted from the other one that he refused to give.
Which was?
Mischief, whimsy, occasional chaos.
So, I know that they released Nye from someplace.
That's semantics. You could put it that way. Another way would be he reneged on his responsibilities.
Okay. If I wanted to get someone out of another place that's similar to that, what would be required of me?
For that kind of boon, you would have to, either you or he would have to have the same bargain as your elven friend did. That's quite the boon.
Understandable.
So out of character, that is basically, how is your charisma, Clarity?
Ever. 15, I think.
Bad. But no,
Um,
they'd be asking for proper patronage at that point. And
Yes.
they'd grant you the same powers, gifts, and expect the same level of service. But
So
there would be-
random things they would want me to do, I would have to do them.
yes, for a little bit extra, for me personally, I can take this offer to the less destructive of my patrons, if you so chose.
If you think about it, it's definitely something tempting.
I wouldn't leave it too long, having seen our former champion. I think you'd probably prefer him a little less broken, this individual you would want us to save.
Definitely.
And gone.
Take
And
a deep breath.
As you're taking the deep breath quietly on the wind, the calling for the rabbit story was inspired, by the way.
I head back inside.
Okay, Ava?
I wanted to grab Remi real quick.
Remy, she kind of grabs at her shoulder. Remy kind of gives her a brief look because Alice is going up the stair, but she waves
just want
Alice
to
out.
share-
We're sharing a room. It's fine.
I'll just borrow her for a minute.
I'll be right there. Yes, yes, Ava. Hi.
That's the thing. Remy is the only one who's fussing about this because Alice is like, these are weirdos. It happens. There's going to be a thing. I'm probably going to hear about it later. Whatever.
I'll make it awkward. So I just thought we should clear the air a little bit because I felt there was some misunderstanding yesterday. And
earlier today, actually.
Yeah, earlier, sorry. And I just want to start with the most important thing. If you had any concern that I was trying to get in between you, there is no chance of that.
No.
Just to make sure.
No. I was not thinking that at all.
Okay, good. It's just wanted to, make sure because obviously what you two have is very special, and I would never get to ruin that. It's just that Alice means a lot to me as well, differently, obviously.
No, she means a lot to everyone.
Yeah,
differently.
No, it's just. When Alfino came into my life as pretending to be my friend, it felt like having a sister because growing up as an only child can be a little lonely. And I enjoyed having, however brief it was, having someone that felt like a sibling. When that was taken away, it really left a void. And somehow Alice filled that. So.
Well, then she definitely deserved a present from you too.
Very clever.
Yes.
Have a good night.
So I'm going to go. So good night. Good night.
Just giggling.
Yeah, Alice is not asking. She's just.
Remi has other things on her mind, so she's not going to elaborate.
At some point before Clarity wandered off, my screen froze, so I missed a fair bit.
You'll just have to watch later.
Oh yeah,
You?
I know. I'm just saying, Darwin at this point probably is already.
Yeah, he would have just head up and crashed because all of this stuff was happening out of earshot of just about everybody anyway. So.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So cool, thanks.
Yeah, and Clarity went off on her own. Ava pulled Remi aside, very specifically pulled Remi aside, so everybody else was more or less out of the loop on that one. So does anybody have any last things?
Well, Remi can talk to Alice about all that either, that night or just go to lunch tomorrow.
Alice is really going to be. It's been a very long day. Whatever this is, we can wait on this one. This is part of what I have as a time saver, and yes. Night has already fallen, but you all get your 8 hours. You're properly healed up, and what spell slots you expended against the kobolds and the Abishai and the rest of it are recharged. Clarity, for a little while anyway, dreams of the Feywild. It is a very interesting place. It's very colorful. She only knows from descriptions, but she's never actually seen the color changing sky and the purple grass that apparently expects you to flirt with it if you want to walk over it, and the various bits and pieces. Remi, she dreams of the celestial plane. Which again is warm and comforting, and probably also a little weird about the whole thing, because Tritherian didn't do this, but it's like a part of you now considers this home. When morning happens, Remi will find Alice is already up and probably downstairs. And the rest of you guys wake up more or less at your own paces. And then Alice is already down having breakfast. Looking a bit thoughtful.
Remi sits down and peers at Alice.
Later, it's fine. We all ready for today, guys?
I think so.
Yeah.
Cool. One thing we should probably do is negotiate the next 2 nights, because it's going to be today for the tattoos, the following day for any last minute shopping, and then we have to head on the train to Egref, but we only booked for the night.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's 16 silver for 2 extra nights. Which can be handled out of party funds.
Yep.
We'll just say that happens. And onward to Arcane Inc. And Alice says, like, okay, mine is a little bit involved, but probably going to be short. But first thing we're going to do is dump out what I've got for trade here and see what that'll cover. I'll leave it on the table. We'll all say what it is we want beyond Precedes, and his is going last. The elven woman behind the counter is like, thank you. And we'll go from there. So she dumps out various teeth, bits of skin, scales, vials of blood, from a whole bunch of shit. And it's like, that isn't everything, but it's I want to save some back if I can. If it starts getting too expensive, I'll haul out some more. But I do want to make sure that that mine does get paid for first. If nobody's too offended by that.
Of course not.
Okay. All Seer's chain. Babble bobble. And looks at y'all in a kind of a thoughtful.
Ava gives her a meaningful look because I think she's sort of catching on to what she's thinking about.
Okay, how is she gonna? Is she gonna be sensible about this? No. Thanks about it. Oh, I can't do that anyway, can I? Glyph of Undead's Bane. Ooh. You have some expensive tastes, but you have some very Keep going. I'll let you know when you've run out of credit. Remi?
Let's go with the Glyph of Freedom.
She's making some notes. Ava?
Well, the ones I thought of we already kind of have, so unless anyone else has thought of one that would be particularly useful for me, I don't think there's any.
Thing off the top of my head. Hazel.
I'm actually considering something that may suit clarity. Glyph of Duplicity?
Hold on, gotta find it.
The spell on it is Mislead.
What does Mislead do?
So it makes an illusionary duplicate and turns you invisible.
Ooh.
That is quite neat.
And the invisibility drops when you cast a spell, and you can use the illusionary copy as sort of a familiar look through its eyes.
I like that.
A certain amount of pondering. I'm not sure if we've got everything we need for that one. We haven't had that one asked for in a while. Hang on. Now we roll the Hand of Fate. Ugh. Damn. Unfortunately, we are missing one key component, and I don't see it in here. You haven't, nobody's picked up anything from Displacer Beasts or anything of the like.
Well, I have the Cloak of Displacement, but that's probably not what you're looking for.
I am assuming you want to keep it.
Well, I mean, I can part with it.
It's more useful whole. Unfortunately, we used the last of ours in our glyphs of blur. Anything else in mind?
Would we have any use for sending at the moment?
I've already got it.
Team. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Oh, you said you used it on the glyphs of blur, then I would say What about that one in lieu of the duplicity?
You then?
Hmm?
Yes, you.
No, not me. I have the boots. I'm again speaking on.
Alice is like, Hazel, I was asking what you wanted for you.
No, nothing.
We're not brainstorming here. We're telling them what we want so that they can see if that covers everything, and if so, how much extra we have to pay.
Got it. Yeah, then nothing for me.
One day you will listen when people talk. Today is apparently not that day. Clarity.
I think I'm good for now. I think I'm alright.
Barnabas?
I am interested in the glyph of flame shield.
Okay, and that's so far. Yeah, I mean, even with that, and that's a lot. That covers most of it. But we are looking at another. Sorry, Darvin?
Oh, no, we are looking at another. I'm sorry.
Did you want one?
No,
this is gonna
no, I did not.
Then what were you interrupting for? You're muted.
We did still have the coupon thing. I don't know if that
Yes,
possibly applied to
that's
this.
why it's a good idea to actually interrupt with the thing. Or, of course, you could have thought of that before when we were putting everything down on the table, but you didn't, so... Now we roll the hand of fate. You're in luck. And Alice is like, hang on. We do still also have a coupon. Whoever still has it, to be fair at this point, I think Darvin probably has it, because you're the one who flagged it up, eventually.
Right. Reach into the one pocket that I keep like this is not getting lost in, and
yeah, you've got Gelfred leaning out from the back room and going, "Great! I'm looking at a date with a himbo."
I resemble that remark. Look, I'll own it. I will own it. I'm trying to be better. That reminds me, I need to write that letter. Anyway, I'm trying to be better. Failing, but trying.
Okay, that still doesn't cover quite all of it, because this is a fair bit of work, but it does take down the price somewhat. We're looking at with all of this, a total of 55 gold.
That's not too bad.
Okay.
By the way, you would have got a couple of hundred platinum for what's on this table. Just so that you know. And of course, we're not even thinking about what his costs, pointing at Frozeth.
Yeah.
So is that coming out of party funds or an Alice?
Yeah, I can take that out of.
Yeah, do I have to pitch in for this? Because I made some significant bank yesterday.
I'll pull this out of the party funds.
I'd be happy to contribute as well. I've got plenty.
Well, we'll save it for when we're dumping more. When we're replenishing the party funds, we can think about that again.
Yep.
I'm just glad this covered as much as it did, because that sounded like it was going to be hella expensive. Speaking of, I think it's my up first. How long is mine gonna take? I'd say with the ear and the tongue, we're looking at approximately half an hour. Yours would be next, I take it, Ms. Crestwind?
All right.
Yours would be around about the same time. Yours is a little more complex. Yours is going to take about an hour, sir. Looking at Barnabas at this point. It's the fur. There's got to be some dyeing and things to make that work. And yours, sir, is going to basically be the
Yeah.
rest of the day after that. Enjoy your couple of hours while you can. Don't worry, we have plenty of the painkiller stuff, and we've made it mint flavored this time. So the Alice says, like, the rest of you, the ones who aren't getting anything done, will meet back at the Bravo's Boast at like dinner hour and wait for Froseth to catch up. But until then, y'all are at liberty. Have your day.
Is there anything anyone wants us to look out for?
Well, we're coming out. We're coming out later anyway.
Oh, right.
Remember? Because we're not just gonna hang out here.
No, that's true. First off, is there anything you want us to look out for?
He's
You're gonna
going
be
out
here
for the
most of
first.
time?
He's going to be out for the first 2 hours, so he can shop then.
Alright,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Okay, so what is everybody who's getting out first doing with the rest of their day?
I intended to do a bit of shopping, looking for something in the way of some boots of some sort, and or some other armor bits other than like full like armor, like bracers or something of that nature. I don't know if I could use bracers and a shield at the same time.
Not really.
No. Okay, that's fair. Then just like a pair of like boots of some.
Well, it depends.
some
It depends
fashion.
on what the bracers are supposed to actually do. But this sounds like you're looking for something that does shit, and it's
Yeah.
probably not something to be handled at the very end of the program. So we're gonna have to
Exactly.
we're gonna have to skip through. But I'm trying to get a general feel so I know what I'm looking for the next couple of weeks.
Exactly. That's all I'm trying to do. And after that, probably just hanging out at the Bravo's Boast and taking in more of the local talent.
Local
Bookboy and
talent
Dragon.
is
Excuse me.
yeah.
Bookboy and Dragon. My bad.
Ava.
Mostly going to be looking for spell components, probably. Or maybe a pouch that would carry some or something along those lines.
Okay, and we'll see what else wandering in the market nets you. Clarity.
I'm going to look for a haversack so that I can officially have one for library purposes.
Okay.
I have a book of enduring. I don't need to buy like paper or ink or anything like that, or do I?
Not well. Ink you do.
Okay.
Paper not at the moment because you got that one empty and clear, and you haven't copied that much into it yet.
Okay.
So you've got a while before you just get a second book at that point.
Okay. And then also presents for the group.
Yeah, we'll I think everybody's probably going to be doing some of that, so we'll look into that further in 2 weeks. But I'm trying to get a feel so that I know what to run y'all through with Hazel.
Either gauntlets of ogre power or a belt of hill giant strength.
You may have to go to Egref for that, but we'll see. Barnabas.
Nothing in particular.
We'll have you wander, and we'll see. Think about anything that Barnabas might want to add to his repertoire, and we'll see what we can do.
Okay.
Froseth, for the couple of hours you have to yourself.
Questionable on if these would be findable anywhere, but immovable rod.
Fate roll about it, and Remi and Alice are having their day date, and they can discuss what they're going to do at the time. But that covers what I need to. But just for my information, is there anything specific that Remi's going to be looking for?
I have no idea what options there are in terms of items with mechanics, and other than that, probably just the Christmas presents.
There's lots of different mechanics. What sort of thing were you looking like you might want to do?
I need to look at, an item list and talk to you later.
Okay, we'll handle that then. And so yeah, we'll skip over just about everything for now because I'd rather end a little bit too early than a lot too late, and this is going to be a lot too late, and it'll give me a chance to decide what is and is not reasonable about what people are asking for. And you guys can have a think, And if at any point in the next 2 weeks, those of you who are a little bit undecided come up with something a little bit more specific, keep in mind that if you touch anything from the UA, I'm going to have to kill you.
Okay.
It's not I mean it's not really that bad. It's just that there's so many options as it is, and I'm allowing so much else. Homebrewed items. I might homebrew something if you couldn't find a specific item but knew what you wanted it to do. But the UA just gets so complicated, and if I allow too much from the UA, I have to allow all of it, and some of it hasn't even been play tested yet. And I just don't want to have to cope. I cope with enough, guys.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
the stuff in some of that is really early in prototyping stages. Like there's a couple recent releases that just no.
There's to be fair, there's going to be some discussion on what's allowable from the later books as well, because Tasha's is a lot of the UA stuff, and there might be some moratoriums on what I'm going to be looking at, what I'm not. I will try to be generous within the bounds of what I can personally handle, but I will still try to be generous. Just I have to keep in mind that if I fuck up, it affects your fun in an equally negative way than if I just don't allow it at all. And yeah, clarity, you're going to want to have a serious think about what you just asked for and what comes next. Because it's possible it's not quite in the skill set, but I'll admit it's easier for me to handle than Wizard.
It's totally like being presented with that. It's not something that she would have ever passed up.
I mean, she's a curious one.
That is.
So
it's a very personal thing, and it's terrifying.
But to be fair, it probably makes more sense than the path she was on before. So we'll have to see where that goes. I look forward to a little bit of having you in the spotlight for that one. But
Okay.
do think about it and make sure that it's something that you want to do, and if so, we'll handle it with the pomp and circumstance it deserves. And if you can think of something else, we'll just have to see where you take that, because you're a clever individual and you come up with stuff I'd never even considered. And as for the rest of y'all, thank you for a particularly entertaining, if not particularly productive in any way, shape, or form session. Thank you, Noms, for being such a good sport.
Oh, that was brilliant.
That was secondhand embarrassment. So much. Sorry. Actually, no, I'm not. It was, but
You made me have to pull my headset off because I was laughing so hard.
Delightfully flaky layers like a croissant of embarrassment.
Dear God's sake, I love you.
And to be fair, he's right though, because it was secondhand embarrassment from Remi's perspective and first-hand embarrassment from fucking Alisay's son. Because keep in mind, I'm doing all this, and it's my fucking character that's stuck in the middle of the crossfire. I love you guys, but sometimes I hate you.
Same to you.
That's the best.
I will see you guys in 2 weeks' time. Like I say, get in touch about the various things you have to decide.
Yeah.
I'll take a look.
Yes, man.